All right, so we've got this guy in here. And so let's put the glass in. The glass we're just going to use wall by face since we have this mass face already that we can use. So if I go to architecture and I go to the wall pull down, there's wall by face, and you'll see that it will want to pick that. Maybe if I go to wireframe, you can kind of see it easier, see how it's picking those. So right now I'm on a generic 8-inch wall. So if I pick that, it's just going to put and the location is finished face exterior. So you can see it's pushing it out, right? And so if I go back to shaded, um, then you've got this kind of wall surrounding it. I'm sorry, let's go to shaded. So now the wall is kind of like on the outside, but I'll control Z back out of that and get rid of that wall, right? So now if I go back to shaded, oops, still got it. Just go ahead and get out of there. There we go. So let's go to architecture and wall architecture. Oh, sorry, wall by face. And I'm just going to edit type of the basic generic 8-inch wall and duplicate it, and I'll make it glass 1-inch, right? And click OK, and I'll edit that structure and change the thickness to 1 inch and change the glass, the material to glass. So glass, right, and get that clear glazing. Use render appearance so it's not that weirdo blue. Click OK. Click OK. And now if I go in and pick, and I can change that to, wall center line. So it goes to the center line. It won't be this. And it will pick and it will put that in there. So now if I go to massing and site and show mass by view settings, you can see that there's glazing in there. Or if I go to my level 1, right, and I zoom in, you can see that glazing and it's going through the columns. But if I go to shaded, you'll see it going through like that. Okay. Um, Once we get this done, I'm kind of doing a quick, very quick version of it. But once we get this done, I'll go in and we'll talk about like, well, what if you wanted to have the glass be, like it be a panel? So this is a very quick way to get it done. But anyway, you do the same thing for the centerpiece. So if I go to massing and site and show mass form and floors, um, then I can go in and go to architecture wall by face, and I can come in here and it will use these guys, right? Unfortunately, let's see, right? The the glass doesn't line up with the this one is just funky, right? So the funkier it gets, the harder it is to get those to line up. But what we could do is, let me just come in here. I'm going to go to my visibility graphics and let's get rid of the structural framing for right now. And right, um, and we do have, and let's, oops, I think I still have some. Let's get rid of that. And maybe let's hide this element. So, but I do have these two things here that it's possible that if I go to architecture component model in place, let's see if this will work. If I go to mass, click OK, and I'll call this center glass, right? And then if I do pick line, will let me let me pick that one. Boy, it doesn't like this one, does it? Let's see. All right, I just started over a little bit, so there will be a hiccup in this one. But we do have this one here, and then we have this here. So if I go to architecture component model in place again and just grab the mass, I did this before, and I'll name this, center glass again. Then if I go in and I want to make a reference line and I go to pick line, it'll project that one onto the ground, but this one I can pick, right? Because I'm on level 1 right now. That's my current plane. So if I pick that, it'll give me a reference line there. But what I need to do now is set my work plane to that structure plane and then go to pick line and, or actually, it's still giving me a little bit of a thing, but let's see if it'll let me do it. Yeah, so now I've got that, and that. Let's see if it'll create a form. It does a funky form though. So I'm just going to delete this one and delete this one. What I would do at this point is I'm just going to make a reference line and I'm going to draw it from the center of here, to here. And then I'm just going to create an ellipse, another one that goes from there to there. Make sure it's a reference line. So make it a reference line and then delete the center line that I used. And then I should be able to pick these two and create a form that's much more uniform, right? And so if I finish that mass, I can go architecture, wall, wall by face, and it's still on the 1-inch glass wall, and I can pick that and that, right? And so now if I reset my temporary height isolate, right, I've got that guy. Okay, and if I go to massing and site and show mass by view settings, then we've got that going on. Oh, and let's turn on the structural framing because I turned that off too, right? So turn that back on. So now I've got this guy. Okay, so that's kind of this part. I'll go through and sort of talk about maybe some other options in the next video.